we're a couple minutes late here. I'd like to call the March 13th regular board meeting to session. We will start with the Pledge of Allegiance and then a moment of silence. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, look here, we've got several people in attendance. I don't have anybody on the list for public comment on agenda items. Do we have anybody online? All right, hearing none. I need to get a motion to approve the amended agenda provided for you today.
Mr. President, I move to approve the amended agenda that was placed at our seats prior to the meeting. Second.
Any comment? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, item number 2 on the list tonight, the approval of the minutes. Can I get a motion for the approval of the minutes for the February 13th regular meeting, the February 13th work session, and the February 13th executive session?
So moved. Second.
Any discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, number 3 on our list tonight, the reports. Mrs. Circle, can you give us the superintendent's report?
Yes, first up we have Tony from Compliance Services.
I feel very fortunate that I'm short on the agenda here.
As he sees the rest of the agenda.
I did, I reviewed the rest of the agenda, so.
It's only a 30-minute one.
So first off, thank you all for your time. Normally I do have like a PowerPoint presentation, but this is more or less just an opportunity for me, and I should probably just introduce myself in case people doesn't know, but my name is Tony Kuykendall with Performance Services. We're the group that actually completed the last several construction projects for the school district. The most recent one really primarily here at the high school in the middle school. And so really as we finished that project at the end of last year, I reached out to Ms. Circle and said, hey, we'd love the opportunity to come back and just check in with you all and kind of recap the project, but also provide an opportunity for you all to ask questions or if there are concerns about what we've done or what we may be looking at down the road in the future and how we can support you all. So first and foremost, what you have is just a summary. As you guys are all aware, and I think I know most of the board members here pretty well, but you guys also have a more detailed improvement list. That was actually created before we finalized this list. So a couple little changes on there, I'll just point these out. All the way down where it says future improvements, where it says item number 2, the weight room AHU, stands for air handler unit, that actually was already completed as part of the recent project. So that was on the future list, it's actually been completed. Everything else was completed in that summary that I just handed out. But why I'm here is, once again, we can certainly install equipment for you and hopefully everything works really well. But we also have this post-project support that we like to tout. We like to kind of make sure we come back and you guys see my face, but also like your team. When you see guys like Greg and Ross, who have to, basically they're the ones, or I use Circle as well, getting the phone calls of, hey, if my room's too hot, or this room's too cold, or something's not working right. We're always available to provide that additional layer of support to your team. So I do want to say Greg's been fantastic at reaching out to us. He knows when you guys have met Pete Berger, our mechanical engineer. You met Tom Lesturgeon, our project manager. He knows when to reach out when you needs additional support on that. And so we're really trying to provide that to him to ensure that your buildings are running efficiently, but also very comfortably. So I do want to point that out, and Ross has always been great, so if there's anything that's a smaller issue or a thing that he needs to point out, he'll reach out to me direct, and we provide that response or that support. But to kind of recap a little bit, I did want to hand this out. One of the main goals that we had, I feel like there were a couple of them. One of them was really kind of addressing a lot of the domestic piping, the galvanized piping that was over on the high school side. We started that a couple projects ago, just too big of a project to tackle in one bite, so we kind of did it in a couple bites. And so we really have finished a lot of all your piping mains, have all been replaced. No more galvanized pipe. You've got the copper pipe now running throughout the building. That was all completed, and if you guys know that building down there as well, there's a lot of those ceilings that were just that hard plaster ceiling, so not easy to work with. Have to take that down, put lay-in ceilings back up, so we accomplished that. Another big portion was actually in both the middle school and the high school, but here in the middle school, a lot of the equipment, the mechanical equipment that supplies your heating and air conditioning was just old. You know, it kind of reached that age where it's time to replace it. You had a lot of pneumatic controls on the systems, which are like air controls. Not easy for your team to be able to operate, maintain, troubleshoot, schedule, all those sorts of things. So we tackled that as well. So basically all your 13 air handlers, we went down to 5, took them out of the tight mezzanine spaces, which it's hard to work on. They are under the rooftop, which is it's cold right now, but not a bad spot for air handlers. And you have all new digital controls. What's important to know for the school board, this has been done intentionally throughout working from the elementary school, through the high school, through the middle school, so you are all now on a digital control system, no more pneumatics. It's the same control system. So the look, the feel, how it operates would be much easier. I know it's much easier for your team or anybody else you may have in that position who you'd like to have trained on those systems. It was a huge investment. So when you look through some of these other things that we did, we had originally talked about a project budget of somewhere in the $4 to $5 million range, right? That's a big project. We came in just over $4 million. So we were really pleased with kind of the pricing. I can't say if we went out to bid a project for you today, it's extremely challenging. The market, the volatility, the uncertainty is still out there, but we were able to kind of control that for you here. We've done that on the last 4 projects, and we're really happy to do that. And the last thing I'll kind of summarize with is as far as one of the things that was brought to our attention. I don't think your facilities team is here tonight, but you do have some exhaust fans. You have a lot of exhaust fans in this facility. We really didn't get into those as much as we might have. So it might be a good opportunity. We had some additional owner allowance set aside. We didn't touch 1 penny of that. That might be an opportunity with some of those exhaust fans, if they are being problematic, that Greg or somebody can work with a local contractor, or we can certainly help you with that, just to address those if needed. And at the very bottom, some of those other things that you may want to think about for the future as well, that we had, when we first kind of were working with the district, put together an assessment district-wide, there were some things. So there is still some of that domestic galvanized piping here in the middle school that will need to be addressed at some point in the future. Really, throughout your buildings on this campus, and I'll say this campus plus the elementary school across the street, you're just at that point where you might start looking at some, I won't say the fun, but some architectural or some cosmetic upgrades. So it's really finishes. So if you want to start looking at, flooring, wall coverings, casework, things of that nature, if you want to have a different look and feel, that's where you want to be, because you've really addressed a lot of your infrastructure. Camden was another building we really haven't got touch base on that in a little while, but that may be something to discuss in the future as well. All right, hit you guys with quite a bit there really quick. I'll pause there. Do you have any questions on the work we've done or anything looking forward that I can answer for you tonight?
On the air handlers, what's the life expectancy on what you replaced?
It's going to be probably 20, 25 years.
Just like what we had here.
Yes, you bet. And really, air handlers are one of those, we've seen those go 30 plus years, with good maintenance. they seem to hold up better than some other pieces of equipment like chillers or boilers, just because those get run through the cycle so many times, and after about 15, 20 years, they're on their last leg. Air handlers can go longer.
I'd like to say thank you for taking on the chore you did when you came in and have it done before school started, actually a couple days early, I even think. And so I know the teachers appreciate that, and we really do with that chore that you had to do. So I particularly appreciate that.
So two or three projects, whatever we've done for. Is Greg and his team up to speed on the maintenance that they need to be performing?
They are. We've done several training sessions to continue to provide some help in that regard. I think Greg and your team that supports them, they are very talented. They know what they're doing. They know your building. There's no question. There's always kind of like that next level of, we're still trying to have some conversations because not everyone knows everything about how the boiler plant may always work. And one example is like how to make sure you're in condensing mode, right? To ensure that you guys are getting the gas savings that you guys should be and you are getting. Took some time to kind of work through some of those, but I think that's one example of us helping. I think you guys are in a pretty good spot. I do know, just because our calls, at least we get calls through our customer portal. I think everyone's pretty busy, so I know there's always the comment about, hey, it'd be nice to have a little bit of additional support to kind of keep up with the maintenance of all your facilities. But they do have the knowledge, the training, and if they don't, they reach out to us. And I will say too, I should have introduced, like I said, both Pete Berger, he was hoping to be here tonight. He had to have a medical procedure done, and Tom wasn't able to be here tonight either. But we were targeting a couple different board meetings, so they're not here with me, but they did want to kind of send along their thanks as well, because they really appreciated working with your district. These types of projects can be extremely challenging. It's not a chore. I won't say it's a chore because you pay us to do it, but they're very challenging. They're tight timelines, and there's a lot in the line to make sure we turn these spaces back over to your teachers and staff. So we appreciate the help and the cooperation, and that's everything I wanted to share tonight, unless there's other questions.
Well, while you're standing there, Tony, I don't know if you know about this yet, but first of all, they were great. When we email, ask questions, they get right back. But when we lost power at the elementary, I don't know if you were aware of this one.
Should have called before they dug.
Yeah, the NDOT, they didn't have it marked and they cut through that solar, the one coming from the solar field, the electrical going out, they cut through it.
Main power feed.
The main power feed. And so, Duke Energy informed us that is not their line. They were kind and fixed it, but they are not responsible for that line. So we reached out, and I guess you are, for the people that are supposed to call for help. You know about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
I would always kind of default to that. I mean, even if it's something that we would not directly fix for you, or if there's a question about it, we would certainly be happy to connect you with the right group. In that case, it was kind of like a call before you dig type scenario. I understand, but yeah, Ross reached out to me and he said, should we reach out to you guys in the future? I said, absolutely. Sorry that occurred, but I'm
well,
glad
it's not
to.
your fault, but I just wanted to update you kind of on that and with Tony here and to let you know that was kind of an interesting situation.
Well, thank you guys so much for your time. Thank you for the business. And as you guys look towards the future, I know there's always future planning and kind of making sure to, what you guys have done a nice job of over the last 5-6 years is planning these projects as you have the funding and not just taking it all on at once. We're happy to support you with the next round of planning, if and when that occurs. So
Thank you
so
for
much.
being here tonight. We appreciate you showing up, so.
All right, thank you all. Have a good night.
Repeat or say hi.
And get well.
Thank you.
Who dat?
Could you please mute unless you're speaking? Thank you.
About 30 days ago, Mr. Dennis and I shared a bunch of time together in my office. Just really, he wanted to come share time and discuss the band program in particular. It wasn't like Sims called him and said, we need to have this discussion. It was Jay worrying about Jay's program, which is typical of Jay. And so I know he spent time with Mr. Long also at the middle school, asked questions, had discussions. I think it's safe to say that all of us, as we reflected back, realized that the pandemic had some major effects on kids. And I think that's true not only in the academic area, the athletic area, and the band area, no question about it. Just because of loss of time. You know, kids didn't have instruments in their hands every day with Jay, and it was a tough time for everybody. And I know that he felt like, you know, they might have went sideways a little bit at times because it wasn't normal practice time. It wasn't normal anything. And so he really came to me and really wanted to go through a plan of kind of rebuilding, restructuring, redoing some things. You know, and he's witnessed, obviously, all of this up close and personal. So we really, it's not because of a lack of effort. It's really more of a lack of practice time, loss of practice time. And so I really asked him if he would come share with all of you tonight what he's thinking, what he's going through, and kind of some steps to rebuild, restructure, and try to catch up as best he, and he's already started this, trying to make sure he gets back in a place where he wants everything to be. So without further ado, I'll let Mr. Dennison share his information with you guys.
All right, I appreciate that. I appreciate your time tonight. This has been a wonderful process to go through with both the building principals, and again, just to get us back on track. So just a brief history. During that COVID year, we were only able to recruit 10 kids into our program. Those kids are going to become freshmen next year. So there are some realities to our program that just are going to happen because it's a 7-year program, and we rely on our youngsters to keep us going. So as a result of that, when we came back to trying to get back to normal, there were some obstacles that we had to overcome. So previous to that, our athletic bands were able to be volunteer. We had enough in our program that we were able to do that on a volunteer basis. Well, when we came back from that, just the numbers weren't there to support that. So we had to take a different approach. So because of those changes, we've had some growing pains, and we've had to restructure the program just a little bit. So we're in the process of that. This will be our 3rd year doing that, in making this the new normal when we came back from that. But again, that COVID group is now going to be a part of our high school group. So there'll be some, and we've had some tremendous success in our band program, especially in the past 2 years. So I can't say that the quality of the program is going to be affected at all, but maybe some of the optics will. So some of the things that you see at a football game or a basketball game may be different. Certainly not the quality of the program at all. I can safely say that we are well back on track. You know, we had a performance just on Friday to a crowd of over 250 people. So, you know, that is not being affected. But again, some of the optics of the program might, as we overcome those obstacles. The other part of it is the recruitment class of the 6th grade. They were another one affected by COVID. They were 3rd graders. And in talking to Mr. Long, you know, that's a crucial time in their development where they develop social skills. And because they weren't ready, you know, they couldn't do Little League, they couldn't do youth basketball, they couldn't do all the things that they did before. So just the involvement level, you know, of all the families. So just to let you know on some of the things that I shared with you, some of the efforts that we're trying to make is just to get the parents more involved, make the parents more aware of what we do and what kind of program we have, just because we lost those 2 years in involvement, and it's finally become a reality for us. So our plan is to stay the course, not miss a beat, you know, still travel, still do what we've always done. But again, you know, it's hard to say after being here for 20 years, I got to start all over again, but you know, that's kind of what it feels like. And not in a negative way, but just in a way that, you know, it's just a new reality. So I just wanted to be upfront with you and share that with you, and not only celebrate our successes, but also share with you some of the realities that we're going through right now in our program. So I'd welcome any question or comments that you might have, or anything I can enlighten you with. But
do you mind refreshing us on how you start at the elementary? I know we have something.
Absolutely, right. Yeah, we have a very strong 5th grade program, so I'm able to go down there every day and see the kids and expose them to the instruments. And actually, I do a lot of exposure for our music program. So, you know, we make them aware that that's a choice for them when they get here at the middle school, and that's a welcome choice. And again, you know, to get the parents involved in that. And I've recruited a lot in that respect, and send out letters to the 5th grade parents and let them know, hey, this is something that we do and we have. So again, a lot of it's just become a new awareness of what we have. Yeah.
So give me numbers. Elementary school, is that the entire 5th grade that gets?
It is.
Okay.
It is. So we touch every 5th grader, which is great. So and we're knee deep in that recruitment process right now. So we've sent letters out already. We're getting ready to send out another batch before spring break, and then April 5th we have our open house recruitment.
And for middle school, then they have to choose between band, choir,
and that's kind of the bottom line. So again, we've reiterated to the parents that the music classes are one of their only choices that they have. So so that's and this process has been amazing for us to go through, and the collaboration that we've been able to go through with the building principals has been something that I've never done in, you know, 25 years of teaching, and being so hands-on and so intimate with the process. And the feedback has been tremendous, just amazing, you know. So all around, parents and administration have been great. Support has been great.
Do we still have the band go down and perform for the elementary?
Yes.
Because I know when I was a kid, that was the excitement of the day.
Right.
They came down, and I think just seeing the instruments one thing, but actually seeing them perform is more entertaining. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it gets these younger kids that are coming into that 5th grade excited about it.
Right, right. So, you know, veterans program, we get to perform in front of them for the whole student body and things like that. And, you know, to carry through with the 5th grade program, and then at the end of the year do a performance for the kids. And yeah, that's always been part of something that we try to do. Yep.
Where are your numbers now from where you would like them to be?
You know, ironically, they're still average. You know, I've looked past through different composite pictures and different pictures we've had of the band. You know, the reality seems like you're constantly juggling kids, but on average, we're really the same. So we average anywhere from 40 to 50 at the high school level, and then each grade level averages about 30 kids in each band, and we house 4 bands. So it's just the reality of that COVID year, you know, it's just kind of gone with us throughout. And so it's just one of those things that is going to, you know, we're going to become a reality here as they become freshmen. Yeah.
So will your incoming freshmen replace pretty much the seniors that are?
Well, and that's another one too, right? Because our senior class is a little bit smaller. So we have 5 seniors graduating out of the program. Previous to that, we had 12 graduate out of the program. So, So we, again, we're gonna end up average. So yes, we will. We will replace those that we're losing. And then right behind that is another bigger class even yet, so.
Very good.
So yeah, we're very much on the rebound. But just to, just to share with you some of the realities that we're going through right now, just so you're aware.
You pretty much know who's coming out of the middle school that's going to be in band. Do you get any extra kids that decide they want to be?
We do, and that's interesting, right? So we've taken a new approach this year too, another recruiting approach where, again, we want the parents to get more involved and actually sign off on re-enrolling the kids in the band, and we have. That COVID year, that 10 has gone actually up to 17. So yeah, we do have had kids jump into the program. So, yep, we just want to stay the course. We really do. That's our plan. Keep doing what we're doing.
So you mentioned changes with
Yep.
the athletic band.
Bands, yes.
So explain to me what is required or what will be required for you.
Yeah, so we're coming up on the 4th year of doing what we have been doing since COVID. So which is putting that extra requirement in the high school band program. So saying that, okay, we're all gonna go play at the basketball games, and we're all gonna go play at the football games, and we've done that more so on my end. I did that as a recruitment tool to give us more exposure, so that we do have those kids more involved. But again, we went through that change. Any change, you're gonna have some growing pains going through. So I feel as if we've gone through that change, and I think the kids are getting used to that requirement and used to that expectation, and actually embracing it. I've had kids, we have a lot of facets to our band program, and for a kid to come up and say, "Oh, I can't wait until the next marching band season," or "I can't wait until the next pep band season," I think those are the things that are going to keep the excitement there, and then the recruitment will follow, I think, through that.
One of the interesting things he shared with me was that schools our size, marching bands are kind of a thing of the past
Yeah, they
almost
just-
at schools our size.
Yeah,
So,
they just don't have them.
I know he's doing everything he can to hang on and make it happen, which is cool on Friday night football games.
Yeah, that's very true. We've encountered a lot of schools our size that just don't have those things in their program anymore. So some things never came back after COVID.
Some of those tubers going up and down the hall like Purdue always do, and they're used to them days again,
Yeah.
getting people excited. But appreciate, what you've done, what you've been through to maintain it and actually increase it. So many times we hear about, COVID, but you're working through it. And so
Yeah.
that's even more exciting to me, is that the finer arts, the things like that, is actually starting to flourish, even maybe a little bit more so than other things we hear out here happening, so.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate your time, I really do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, I can. So next on your agenda is Mrs. Bigler. She's going to share with you a new program that hopefully we do a little trial run with, and then next year we actually do more with it.
So I passed this out for you guys to take a look at. And so one of the things that Dana Kirkwood and I battle, along with Sims and Shiplet at the high school, drives us crazy is attendance. And we have students, we have a set number of days that kids are allowed to miss. And then if they get to too many, they lose credit, and you can even get expelled for having attendance issues, which is kind of what a kid that has attendance issues wants anyway. And so a couple of, I guess it was, when did they come to talk to us? Probably September or October. Cassidy McCall and Diane Davis from the Carroll County Lifeline Connection approached us because they had been awarded a grant from the Department of Education to start providing services to schools, okay? And so they previewed 2 different programs, and the one that they decided to use was too good for drugs, and I think that it's too good for drugs and violence. And what we are going to do is we are going to use this program as a way for students to gain credit back. Instead of expelling them, we're going to be, I guess, less punitive and more trying to get them to be able to make good choices, possibly stay away from substance abuse. There's a goal-setting component to this, and basically the kids are going to be participating in 16 lessons. Youth or Lifeline Connection will be at the school starting tomorrow, and they'll be there every Tuesday and Wednesday during 8th period. Somehow the gods made it happen that all of the kids that were struggling had 8th period study hall except for 2, and I was able to make some schedule changes. So we actually have 5 students that are attendance issues that are going to be participating, and then I had one young man come to me saying that he was addicted to vaping and that he wanted some help. And so I was able to make it work so that he could participate in this also. And so then Sims and I met with them today to talk about some other options that we had lunch with them that we could possibly use for the school for next year. But we'll see how this works, maybe being a little bit restorative and less punitive when it comes to our attendance stuff.
So actually, the discussion today was with the same program, basically trying to find a way for them to be in our midst during a 6th period next year, and in which we have some flexibility to do some things. 6th period will be a power hour for us next year, where we have a lot of different types of topics thrown at kids from our faculty members, but we also really, it's kind of Angela and my goal to put this in front of every one of our freshmen during that 6th period, 9 weeks at a time, kind of divide them up, one third of the freshman class, the first 9 weeks, and get them through this program based on what's happening within our schools. I think it's needed. They have grant money, it's free, so Mrs. Circle's happy about that. And I think it's going to be a really good program, actually, so we're kind of looking forward to seeing what happens here with this group of kids and moving forward.
It's interesting because demographically it's 3 boys and 3 girls, so I mean it's not necessarily one gender over the other, and it's all grade levels that are kind of struggling here, so it'll be interesting to see how it works within the different grade levels and genders. So let's see what happens.
Lifeline Connection is actually beginning this with all the 3rd grade class at Carroll.
Yes.
And so I'm kind of curious to watch that and see what that has at that age level. Obviously the vaping thing and the letter you sent out recently really kind of described some of the challenges we have. So there's a lot to this. I hope that it pans out that way, because the freshmen obviously would be a great target, but I think it needs to go lower.
We tried to do this in January, but I only had 4 students that were eligible or for what we wanted to do, and one of them had to work. One of them just said, "That's okay, I'll take the credit loss," and then the other one didn't have transportation because they were doing it at the youth center, and then one of the students attends the youth center, and so she was actually able to participate. I think that they're finishing that up right now, but we'll looks like we've got to go for it starting tomorrow.
So next year won't be as much as a buyback situation for days missed. It'll be more of an educational situation where they actually are freshmen learning about what's actually happening in our schools that are negative parts, trying to educate them to move forward and hopefully put at least slow down the issues that are happening in everybody's community at this point in time. So that's where we're at.
They have a website if you want to check out the curriculum, what they're doing. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.